Don't you dare lose concentration, just for a few moments. Listen, and there might be something in this video which maybe, maybe not, will resonate with your line of thought right now. Most of us, if you're like me, will be going through your regulars on YouTube to see if there's something new, and I don't know why it is, but I seem to home in myself on what some people would describe negative topics. I just think it's the climate that we're in at the moment, But putting that aside, the last thing I want to do is bury your ankles deeper in the gloom and mud, and make it harder for you to walk through life after this video, hearing this video. So I want to start with the last video that I did. Not too fussed about the fact that we didn't really achieve what I was hoping to, and it wasn't just about trying to raise money for the channel. To the contrary, what I was trying to do was get your feedback on it, and it was quite bizarre, because it was like the topic that I'd asked for some feedback on was just completely overlooked. And it wasn't a problem. Honestly, it weren't a problem. I did ask some people not to beat me up over it, but even though you say that, and it's not always going to be interpreted to some people in a particular light, where they cannot refrain from reacting to it. And we did have one particular person who mentioned that he himself was at the moment going through life with cancer, and so was his father. And I'm really sorry that is the case for yourself and your father. And I don't mean to offend you in any way. I really don't even know how to approach what it is that you're going through. It's hard for me, because I have such an out of the box look on life that if I try to share something with you, you'd probably find it offensive, and I'm not being offensive. And it was quite a strange response that I give to your reply to that video, wasn't it? You must agree. And I don't really know where that came from, but what I do know is what I said was from the heart. And I reread it, and it is true, isn't it, that words are like the artist's palette. You can create the art of conversation with them, can't you? Each word is a colour, and each sentence is a conglomerate of colours that you can put together, and you can speak, and it is an art, isn't it? And I don't know where that came from. When I don't even know, because I had a feeling that you was having a go at me for asking for some support for the channel, but I don't know where that came from. It was like something had overwhelmed me, if you get what I mean. And when I looked at it, I thought it didn't even look like I'd written it or even thought those words, but I could see the beauty in those words, and I hope you didn't find that offensive, because I never expected your reply in the tone that it came over, or your circumstances that came clearly out of that reply. Just getting back to, you have to forgive me, because I have quite an individual way of looking at things, and I'm yet to be proven wrong on this, but on my deathbed, I will not be um, too upset, because I've already been given the opportunity to do what I've done in my life. Um, today, let me give you for instance, when I got up before the sun had risen, having a coffee, I was sitting at my computer, and I could see a little shimmer of red come over the trees out the window, and about 15 minutes later, I just pulled the curtain back, and I just stared at the sky, because it was amazing. It was red, orange, a beautiful sunrise, and probably one of the best sunrises I've ever seen before. And it's things like that I appreciate. It doesn't cost nothing. Um, it's just, you say to yourself in your mind, that's probably the best one I've had, and I've had some good ones, and I've even videoed them for you. Some mornings we've watched the sun come up, together, and it was really amazing. And death, like I say, won't be something I'll be too disappointed about. I hope, that I have an opportunity to experience more in life. I think we all do, don't we? And we all want the opportunity to do that. And it's a shame that some of our opportunities are being trampled. I wanted to do a different video on these lines, guys, this time. I didn't want to talk about the pole shift, didn't want to talk about trying to raise money for the channel, or anything like that. I wanted to, talk about some of the things that we used to on the other channel, like the universal conscious. And I think that some people who are not yet ready for the understanding of such things as the universal conscious, which is what I classify as my God. If it is a him, yes, he's a Lord. He's a fantastic creator. There's no two ways about it. And I've been very fortunate to have a pattern in life which has led me to be of understanding of certain things with relationship to chemicals and atomical nuclei, and what am I talking about? We'll delve into this slightly. I'm talking about the body being made up of atoms, carbon atoms, hydrogen atoms, oxygen atoms, H2O, the brain. Just think about the brain. I'm going to be honest. I just want to share my thoughts on this. Just think about your brain. It's 98% water, they say. Is it something high in contents of water? Yeah. Your memories, your motor functions, your logic, all your thoughts, all your memories, they're all in there, right? And most of it is based on water. Now, how is water then, if it makes up the majority of your mental capacity, how is it able to retain that information on what is the majority of water? Is the majority of water the electrical conductor? And is only that small percentage the circuitry in which the conductor runs along the electrical brain stems and cells, and all those other complex things that we've really not really quite understood about the human mind. But it is amazing, and it is by no chance a mistake. There's something different about human beings when we compare ourselves to pretty much most species on this planet. We have a mental capacity and range of intelligence far more than any other creature on the planet. It makes us sort of special, and you have to ask yourself then, well, is this by mistake? You know, I know the answer to these questions, but I know that, putting them over to you is not always easily done. Um, Especially in this day and age, it's far easier to believe um, something that's not right than it is to believe something that's right. And what I mean by that is we get down to the nitty-gritties of the universal equation, then, even presented with the simplest form of that equation, which I showed you guys, and I also discussed how it came about, would be enough to relay uh, that there is something more going on. And yes, some people would say, well, then what you're suggesting could be along the lines or realms of fate, and that frightens a lot of people. But this universe is, without a doubt, creating and has been creating for millions and trillions of years, more than the mind can even possibly think in terms of time. It has been creating for a long time, and it has been doing so by it's going to come as a shock to some people that are not familiar with the universal equation. It's been doing it by a binary system, a mathematical system. Yeah. And if it creates, it must intentionally create for a reason, and it must do so intelligently and therefore consciously. And that equation sets the platform and foundation for that. There's no two ways about it. If I can convert any object into a mathematical formula or a number, and then put that number into the universal equation, and it come out in a binary form, then surely it is proof and existence of a consciousness. So, you know, I call my God. I didn't, when I was growing up, call him this. I call him the universal conscious for that reason. I believe that this is not something um, that I've been alone, been able to work out. I've got a feeling that some of your main and top scientists would have known this. Albert Einstein, I have a feeling, a hunch, definitely one of my favourite. I'm going to call him a scientist. I don't think he was actually ever qualified as a scientist, but I'm going to call him a scientist in any case, because in my view, science is about understanding, and about using that understanding to create something yourself. And Nikola Tesla, well, he gets the platinum, not gold, in my view, for his achievement. And just listening to some of the things that Nikola Tesla achieved, and where it came from. That's the main thing. Is this, significantly intelligent person, and he's talking about being in touch with something else, and definitely not of the everyday realm that we're used to. He's talking about being in touch with something else, of the world, of the worldly or off-worldly. That's what he's talking about. And he would say that he would dream vivid dreams of diagrams, and he was being shown things. And you might recall that he talked about, if ever you familiarize yourself with the numbers 3, 6, and 9, then you'll understand about a lot of things of this universe. Well, it turns out that 9 happens to be one of those binary numbers in this universal equation. And I definitely see where the 6 comes in and the 3 comes in, and yes, I am getting better at having an understanding now. I can some days think, yes, as above, below, and I know what that means, and other days, I feel a little bit vague, but I think I understand what that means. I think I understand what Nikola Tesla is talking about, the 369. When you're confronted with certain things, it's too much in your face for it to just simply be what some people would call a coincidence. It's not. No coincidence. We've travelled a little bit off, what we was talking about. We was talking about, this guy who left this comment on the one of the videos, and I get the impression that he must think that it is coming close to the end for his father, suffering with cancer, and himself. And I hope that he's listening, and I hope that he does not take offence. This would be the second time I asked him not to take offence at something I said, but perhaps some people that speak out the box are offensive because their views are completely different to others. So I'm going to say this, and in any case, with regards to that, I mean no offence, but even if it is the end to yourself at the moment, you think that that's the end, then what you thought was the beginning was never the beginning in the first place, and what you also think is the end is not the end. There's no such thing. You cannot create atoms and you cannot destroy them. And I've used this expression before, after you have finished borrowing those atoms, they go back in the box. And this is the way it's been done for eons of years, billions of years, trillions of years in this universe. The atoms that make up this planet was never always here. There've been stars, there've been planets, there've been meteorites, there've been comets, there've been stars, there've been planets, there've been meteorites, there've been comets, there've been life forms, and so on and so forth. Many, many times before. This universe that we are part of has been around for a time which is, barely worth talking about, because it has been that far back in our history. It is completely incomprehensive to the human mind to even grasp how long of time that is. But the beginning of what we feel, when we arrive here and we take that first experience, which is the first breath of air on this planet as a conscious human being, is not going to be the last experience. Because throughout life, that may be the first experience you have, that first gulp of air, that cold substance rushing almost what feels like into your soul for the first time. And then, the last experience will be, maybe for some people consciously, or even for some people unconsciously, and maybe some people will prefer that, but it won't be the last that you are, because there's something else, I think, about the human body. And although we're made up of atoms, what makes me say this is that there is something that doesn't quite equate, and that is where we are storing all this information.
this might be, you know, for a better way of explaining it, a kindergarten for conscious not human beings, just conscious beings. And it might be a process that lasts a lifetime for most of us, an opportunity to be conscious for the first time, and also at the same time an opportunity to explore the three or the third dimensional world that we're able to. So it's not the worst thing that can happen, in my view. That's my view. Dying won't be the worst thing that can happen. I mean, I'm 42, and to be honest, I've been round the sun 42 times. I know what it's like to go round the sun. I strive for these days experiences, and I've got to say I've done pretty much what I wanted to do in my life. I enjoy more than anything. I do enjoy some of your feedback. Some of your feedback has an effect on my life, in my train of thoughts, in the way that will move off in a direction just by some people asking me to look into certain things. And I love the quirky things. The other day someone sent me a poem and said, what do you think about the origins of this? And I started to read about it, and I come across the poem, and I read the poem, and I liked it. I liked it, I really did. And I can see why the poem inspired quite a lot of people, and some famous people as well, because of what was said in it. It was almost like a description, or a light note on a napkin in a restaurant on just how to get by in life. Don't stress too much. You know, if doing something begrieves you too much, try not to do that too much. I just that was the gist of this poem. It was fantastic. And the other thing was, it did mention briefly in there about the universe and us being children, and we are children. This is a nursery. I think there is a lot of learning to do whilst we're conscious as human beings, and after this. Guys, I'm thinking, I just had the thought, you've talked about some things that you don't usually talk about on your video, and I'm not sure how much people would appreciate what you've talked about, or even how they will jive with it. But I'm going to put the video up. I was going to say, I was thinking to myself then, shall I even test the ground on such a video? But no, I will. I'll put it up. So don't think I'm being harsh. What I'm trying to say is, it's an opportunity. And it doesn't, this day and age, if people got cancer and it was fate, then they'd die. It's not always the case these days. I was with my mother during the period of time where she had cancer, and going through a chemo, I'd run her up to hospital every time she needed to go up there, and sometimes at some points it was every day for a long period of time. And it was lucky that I wasn't in work, and I could do it, and I was great. I thought it was great that I was able to be there for her. So I'll try this out with you guys, and I'll see how it resonates with you. There's plenty of time for the pole shift news, and news on the market, on the Baltic Dry Index and other things like that, and conflicts around the world. It's just that sometimes I don't want to go in that direction. I want to talk about it. The pole shift I'll be honest with you, in my view, the pole shift's coming. There's no stopping that. Science has proved that. We know that the magnetic poles are migrating, and they have been for the last 100 years, and we know also that they've been going faster and faster. But why have they? At this point in time, where in the last 100 years we've become more technologically advanced, and we've also let a lot of things slip. And I'm going to go resorting to the Bible now. With regards to letting those things slip, I do believe that what our ancestors recorded in the Bible was not just morals and dogma. It was a way of incorporating important information that would last the test of time, and only in a religion would you be able to do that. Now, I've said there are some things in that Bible which I find shocking. I really do. I really find them shocking. There's technology discussed in the Bible, and most people wouldn't even know where that is. And yet, it's right before your eyes, in not too many pages into the book. It's in Genesis. A complete knowledge of thermodynamics, and yet they don't call it that. It's what we call it now. It's our learning of that, but they obviously had an understanding of that. It's like, compare how many laws we have for different things, and yet, if you asked a highly intelligent, logical being, how can we resolve this and compile this into a very simple format? Well, that would probably be given back to you then in the form of those 10 commandments. Just think about it. If everybody abided by those 10 commandments, would it be a bad world that we live in? I don't think so. Someone very efficiently give us that, I believe. It's in the Bible. Something else there, guys, that I wanted to talk about, and that is about in Revelations. I know I was going to end the video, but I've got to just say this because it's just come to mind, and it was something that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for a while, and that is to do with, in Revelations, the bride descending from the heavens, and it gives the dimensions of the bride of 144 cubits, and it has 12 foundations of different stones and minerals. And the fact is this: it isn't the first time that a description of what we would now call a UFO descending from heaven, right? Because in the Bible we also have that of Ezekiel describing something descend from the heavens, and indeed, in the Bible, it talks about the bride. It calls it the bride. And I was pondering this one day: why would you call it the bride? Well, it'd be like your wife, right? You wouldn't probably want to enter into this city that descends from the heavens and not treat it as you would treat your wife. You wouldn't be unfaithful to the bride or your wife, would you? That's why it's described as the bride, and it's described as the bride because it is for life. It's for eternity, if you are lucky enough to board that bride, in my view. So I had to share that with you for some reason. The city that descends is what you would describe simply as a UFO. It's a mothership, and it is a city as well. And if you are married to that city, then you are going to treat it with the respect, the dignity, the honesty, the truthfulness, as you would your wife, or your husband. That's why it, in my view, is called the bride, because you are married to that city, and you are not going to bring um, filth into it. And it is a beautiful city, and I think it is why it is described that even kings and lords uh, are aware of that in some way in the Bible. It doesn't. I can't remember the exact script, but that is my view on that. My reckoning on why it is called the bride, because it's a strange thing. Now, a lot of people would say that the bride is to do with the Christ coming back. Well, they wouldn't describe the Christ as having walls 144 furlongs if they was talking about the bride for Christ. No, this is a city as it's described as a city, and it descends from the heavens, and those people, those 144,000 that are chosen, I believe, to go in that city at that point, are people knowingly to be of the right stuff. And I think at this point in time there is probably I'm not going to use the word, it would be completely the wrong word, auditions for those people, but I do believe that these people are being sought. Most have probably already been selected, and I do believe that there are still opportunities for people, and it's going to be the right sort of people that get the opportunity to board the bride. So I had to share that with you guys. I'm going to round it off there, and I generally don't mean to offend people in these videos, and it's my honest view of the way I see things. I've got to say, I have had some things that even I can't explain happen to me in my life, and perhaps you've got some of those, and please share them. However quirky they are, share them. I love quirky things, and even if it's not quirky, if it's along the lines of what we've been talking about in this video, then please share. Give me your thoughts. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to say what I usually do, guys. You take care, and although times are hard, try and focus on those things that warms the soul. That's, to me, in my view, is what, at that moment of, you get the inspiration, you find a bit of light in the dark path. It's like, to me, is a summertime scene where all the flowers are opening up, and it's beautiful, fresh, clean air, and just a warm, happy feeling. And yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it there. You enjoy the rest of your evening or day, and I'll say what I usually do. Take care. Bye for now.